There's a quiet moment that almost no one talks about. The moment when you look at your phone, scroll past names that once meant everything to you, and feel absolutely nothing. No anger. No nostalgia. Just a cold, steady calm. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a question starts to whisper. Is something wrong with me, or is this the most honest I've ever been? If you've ever wondered why some people disappear from everyone's life without a goodbye, why they don't circle back, why they seem emotionally untouchable afterward, this isn't about them. This is about what's happening underneath that decision, the part no one sees and almost no one admits. People who cut everyone off are often misunderstood as heartless, dramatic, or arrogant. But the truth is more uncomfortable. This behavior doesn't usually start with strength. It starts with exhaustion. Emotional exhaustion so deep that even explaining it feels like work. Imagine reaching a point where every interaction feels like a negotiation, where being understood requires more energy than you have left. Cutting people off becomes less of a choice and more of a survival reflex. Not because they don't care, but because caring has started to feel dangerous. There's usually a long history behind that silence. Years of being the listener, the fixer, the one who adjusts, the one who swallows discomfort to keep the peace. Over time, something subtle happens. The person learns that closeness comes with a cost. That being open invites disappointment. That explaining yourself doesn't always lead to understanding. So instead of arguing, instead of begging to be seen, the mind begins to rehearse a quieter solution. What if I just step away? What if I don't need to prove anything? What if I disappear? Here's the contradiction most people miss. The same people who cut everyone off often feel things more deeply than those who stay. They're not emotionally numb. They're emotionally overloaded. They felt rejection, invalidation, or betrayal not once, but repeatedly enough that their nervous system no longer trusts connection. Cutting people off becomes a way to regain control. A way to stop the bleeding without having to explain where it hurts. You might recognize this pattern if you've ever replayed conversations in your head, wondering how things went wrong, wondering why you always seem to be misunderstood. Eventually, self-doubt creeps in. Maybe I ask for too much. Maybe I'm too intense. Maybe it's safer if I don't need anyone at all. And slowly, independence stops being empowering and starts becoming isolating. But from the outside, it looks clean, decisive, strong. There's also something deeply seductive about cutting everyone off. The silence feels pure at first. No expectations. No obligations. No one telling you who you should be. For someone who's spent a lifetime adapting to others, this feels like oxygen. The mind associates solitude with relief and relief with safety. So the walls go up higher, not out of spite, but out of self-preservation. But here's where the psychology gets darker. When you cut everyone off, you don't just lose them. You lose the mirrors that once reflected who you were. Without feedback, without friction, identity can start to blur. You become self-contained, but also self-locked. Thoughts echo louder. Emotions go unchecked. And the story you tell yourself about why you're alone slowly hardens into something rigid. Something unquestionable. Many people who do this don't realize how much anger they're carrying. Not explosive anger, but quiet resentment. Resentment at not being protected when they were vulnerable. Resentment at being expected to understand everyone else while no one tried to understand them. Cutting people off becomes a way to punish the world without having to confront anyone directly. It's passive, but powerful. There's often shame underneath it too. Shame for needing people. Shame for wanting connection and feeling incapable of sustaining it. So the mind reframes the narrative. I'm better off alone. People are draining. I don't need anyone. This story feels safer than admitting loneliness. Safer than risking rejection again. And once that story settles in, it becomes part of the identity. What's unsettling is how normal it starts to feel. Weeks turn into months. Months turn into years. The idea of reconnecting feels invasive. You start to flinch at the thought of emotional closeness. Not because you don't want it, but because you don't trust it. And that's when the isolation stops being a choice and starts being a habit. There's a moment, usually late at night, when the silence stops feeling peaceful and starts feeling heavy. When distractions fade and you're left alone with your thoughts. That's when the mind asks the question it's been avoiding. Did I cut them off because they hurt me? Or because I was afraid of being hurt again? This question doesn't come with an easy answer. It comes with discomfort, and most people push it away. People who cut everyone off often believe they're protecting their peace. But peace built on avoidance is fragile. It depends on never being challenged, never being seen too clearly, never needing too much. The world shrinks to fit inside emotional armor. And while it feels controlled, it also feels smaller, quieter, less alive. The most dangerous part is how justified it all feels. You can point to real experiences, real wounds, real disappointments. And they're valid. But psychology isn't just about what happened to you. It's about what you learned from it. If what you learned is that connection equals pain, then isolation will always feel logical, even when it's hurting you. At some point, the mind starts to confuse solitude with superiority, not consciously, but subtly. I'm different. I see through people. I don't play games. This belief protects the ego from admitting loss. Because admitting that you miss people you cut off would mean admitting that the armor didn't fix everything. And that's a terrifying thought. What almost no one tells you is that cutting everyone off doesn't end emotional pain. It just relocates it. Instead of coming from others, it starts coming from inside. It shows up as numbness, as restlessness, as a constant low-level dissatisfaction you can't explain. And because there's no one around to reflect it back to you, it's easy to believe that this is just how life feels now. There's a grief that comes with this path, even if you don't consciously feel it. You grieve the version of yourself who believed in connection. You grieve the possibility that things could have been different. And you grieve quietly because there's no one left to notice. If this feels uncomfortably familiar, it's because the psychology of cutting everyone off isn't about rejecting people. It's about rejecting vulnerability. It's about deciding that being alone hurts less than being seen and misunderstood. And for a while, that feels true. But here's the part that stays with you long after the silence settles. Humans aren't wired to heal in isolation. The mind can convince itself of almost anything, but the body keeps score. The tension, the guardedness, the constant readiness to withdraw, that's not peace. That's defense. The people who cut everyone off often believe they've reached the end of a story. That this is the final version of them, independent, untouchable, complete. But psychology suggests something more unsettling. This isn't the end of the story. It's a freeze frame, a moment where growth paused to avoid pain. And the question that lingers isn't whether cutting people off was right or wrong. It's whether you're still choosing it, or whether it's choosing you now. Because there's a difference between protecting yourself and imprisoning yourself. One heals. The other slowly erases parts of you that you won't even realize are gone until you need them. The silence you built can feel powerful. It can feel controlled. It can feel safe. But safety without connection eventually turns into emptiness. And the hardest realization isn't that people hurt you. It's that avoiding that pain may be costing you more than you ever expected. If you're honest with yourself, you already know. The calm isn't as calm as it pretends to be. The distance isn't as freeing as it once felt. And somewhere beneath the armor, there's still a part of you listening, wondering if cutting everyone off was strength, or just the quietest way to scream.